working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect. Why are you having me here?
I don't have to have you here. That's one thing that we can make clear. That's one thing we can make clear.
What happened to Danity Kane? Why did the band break up?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas. At the very end, he fired me.
Aubrey O'Day is going to be a witness testifying against Diddy.
Why did Aubrey O'Day break her silence, risking everything to testify against Diddy? Her cryptic social media posts and sudden arrival in New York City are only the beginning of something that could change everything.
To Us Weekly, Aubrey O'Day is set to testify in the Diddy trial. So according to Us Weekly, former Danity Kane singer Aubrey O'Day is set to testify in the Sean Diddy Combs high-profile trial. A source confirmed to us that O'Day was subpoenaed and has traveled to New York City to testify sometime this week or next. She's already here this week, but I don't believe she'll be able to testify this week because Cassie probably will be testifying all day tomorrow.
I am a very strict and focused businesswoman because working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy.
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that. The deal that we were offered, and when I say we, not every artist got it. Like Day 26 did not get it. But this is what it is. You can have your rights back to your music after Puff went under and somebody else bought our catalog. So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that? 48 million?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm a mathematician, but maybe.
So $48 million somebody made on me.
About Aubrey O'Day being a witness testifying against Diddy, and I think the reports are 100% true, even though it's not been confirmed by the government. Aubrey O'Day did in fact touch down in New York City yesterday, and she posted this to her Twitter 2 days ago. You are standing at the edge of the season that will demand your truth in full voice. What you've hidden, denied, or feared will no longer fit the shape of who you are becoming. Doors that once ignored you will now open, not because you knock louder, but because you carry the authority of alignment. You are not late, you are right on time. And everything you thought was a detour was actually divine preparation. Stay rooted, speak clearly, and the shift is already in motion.
Aubrey O'Day set social media on fire with a cryptic tweet just days before she was seen in New York City. She posted a message that many now believe directly hinted at her role in the powerful testimony against Diddy. The tweet read, "You are standing at the edge of the season that will demand your truth in full voice. What you've hidden, denied, or feared will no longer fit the shape of who you are becoming." Fans were deeply affected by these words, seeing them as a clear sign that Aubrey was about to confront something serious. The message continued, "Doors that once ignored you will now open, not because you knock louder, but because you carry the authority of alignment." This wasn't just a random post. It felt intentional, strong, and filled with meaning. Now, with her sudden arrival in New York happening at the same time as Diddy's trial, everything is starting to make sense. Her past with Diddy is too important to ignore. As a former member of Danity Kane, Aubrey worked closely with him during some of his biggest years in the music business. This wasn't just a job. Aubrey has openly talked before about the control. Diddy had over her in the group, describing harsh treatment and a toxic environment that hurt both their creativity and personal lives. Her past puts her right in the middle of someone who has long been accused of using his power to keep people quiet. If anyone knows how Diddy really operated, it's Aubrey. What makes this moment even more important is when she showed up, right during the first week of the trial. That wasn't by chance. As soon as the public found out, the internet exploded with questions. Was she here to testify? What does she know? While nothing was officially confirmed at first, the rumors got stronger when her name came up in connection to the case. Since she had both a working and personal connection with Diddy, her testimony could be key in backing up what others have said, especially about the shocking claims involving Cassie Ventura. For years, Diddy has been accused of shaping the stories of those around him, especially when they tried to reveal darker parts of his world. Many of his co-workers, employees, and even friends have said they were silenced or ignored. But Aubrey isn't staying quiet. Her choice to speak out, whether through her bold tweets or in court, has changed the tone of the entire trial. The mysterious post, the public appearance, and the upcoming courtroom moments have already shifted the focus. Her courage to stand up against what she says was control and manipulation is setting an example that could lead others to come forward. So, what is she keeping secret? That might be the biggest question of all. If her tweet means anything, Aubrey seems ready to tell the full truth. With so much secrecy and silence surrounding Diddy's world, her testimony could reveal shocking details. What did she witness behind the scenes? Did she personally see any of the forced labor, abuse, or criminal behavior described in the case? These are questions only the trial can answer, but just the idea of her testimony has the public holding its breath. Her appearance in court isn't just a legal act, it's a powerful message. It shows that people are no longer afraid to speak out against powerful figures. This isn't just about what happened to Aubrey, it's about what her voice means for others who've been kept quiet. The trial doesn't feel like it's only about Cassie anymore. It's turning into a much bigger story about the harmful systems inside the entertainment industry, with Aubrey leading the way. As the trial continues, Aubrey O'Day stepping into the spotlight feels like more than just giving a statement. It feels like the start of real change. But she's not the only one. Another important witness, Dawn Richard, is also preparing to speak out, bringing even more weight to the growing case against Diddy. We'll explore her role and what her testimony could mean for this trial next.
I just want to throw you the facts, okay?
Sure.
So this is long after we have 2 double platinum albums, $14, $15 an album from 2 million albums is, what is the math on that, 48 million? And this benevolent man who's now had a change of heart and has decided to pay us as talent. We only get the amounts due since Sony bought our catalog.
Okay.
So streaming for the past couple years, it's about $800, $900. I have to sign an NDA that I will never disparage Puff, Bad Boy, Janice Combs, or Justin Combs Music, or EMI, or Sony ever in public. I would like to do a documentary for Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, a streaming site. I offered some of the girls, hey, if you need $800-900, I'll give it to you. Don't sign this. The fact that the kids are marching up to that court, praying over everything and walking in with a bunch of women also that are encouraging it. I don't know any father that would want their children to sit through testimony about how much their daddy liked to watch people lubricated.
They are going to start shaping multiple different charges that Diddy is being accused of. And not only that, they are going to corroborate what Cassie Ventura is saying, because things that they witnessed firsthand being around Cassie. She also alleged that Diddy had a very demeaning behavior towards them and made it very toxic, and that also plays a part into the forced labor charge.
Dawn Richard's testimony has quickly become one of the most explosive parts of this trial, as the lawsuits and accusations keep building against Diddy, and her statements bring a level of detail and insider knowledge that could change everything. Richard, a key witness, has made shocking claims in her lawsuit that have already sent shockwaves through the case, directly accusing Diddy of control, violence, and abuse. What makes this even more serious is that Richard has said she personally saw Diddy physically attack Cassie Ventura more than once. This isn't a rumor or something she heard. She says she saw it with her own eyes, and that part of her testimony is incredibly important. Cassie's accusations have already painted a terrifying picture of abuse. But Richard's claims give the court something even more important: support from someone who says she witnessed it as it happened. That's not just helpful, it could change the direction of the whole trial. Richard's lawsuit also describes a workplace that sounds more like a nightmare than a music career. She said she had to work 36 to 48 hours straight with no breaks, no food, and no sleep. And according to her, this wasn't rare, it was normal. She also said that Diddy constantly put his staff and performers, including members of Danity Kane, through serious emotional pressure with his insulting and harsh behavior. Think about that for a moment. Richard isn't just saying Diddy was a tough boss. She's describing something that sounds like forced labor. When you hear claims like that, it makes you wonder what else has been hidden. For Richard to come forward in a case this public isn't easy, she knows the risk. Her reason for testifying seems to go beyond wanting justice. It feels personal. Like many others, Richard has likely been carrying these memories for years, and this trial may be her only chance to take back her voice without fear. And let's not forget how hard it is to speak out against someone as rich, powerful, and connected as Diddy. The danger she's facing is not imaginary. It's real. What's obvious now is that Richard's testimony plays a key role in the forced labor charges that are part of the larger racketeering case. Her descriptions match what other witnesses have said, showing a clear pattern of control and abuse. This isn't just about one person's bad behavior, it's about a system that let Diddy allegedly act this way without consequences for years. The prosecution is relying heavily on these details to show how deep this pattern goes, and Richard's, story might be the proof they need. Now the question is, how Diddy's legal team will try to fight back. Will they say she's lying, or that she has a personal reason to bring him down? Whatever they do, tearing down her credibility won't be easy. Right now, Richard's words are doing something powerful. They're connecting all the pieces and bringing together claims that might have seemed separate. One person's voice can be ignored, but when many speak together, the case becomes impossible to brush aside. Aubrey O'Day opened the door with her mysterious post and appearance at the trial, but Richard has taken it even further by exposing what allegedly went on behind closed doors in Diddy's world. Together, their stories are building a case that can't be hidden. So how strong will Richard's testimony be in court? If her words stand up to questioning, they could deal a serious blow to Diddy's defense. With more and more people speaking out, it feels like we're getting closer to the full truth. These statements aren't just pieces of evidence, they're signs of real bravery from people willing to speak against someone with enormous power. And what comes next could break this case wide open.
Concerning to me that the optics of them being there and supporting father are obviously a very strong play for the defense. The jury is seeing them in there. What kids would sit there through this if they didn't love their daddy and this was not true? I don't think they probably like to hear that either. It's telling to me. It means that daddy's being selfish and he needs, in my opinion, it feels like daddy needs you in court because daddy needs all the optics to look in his favor, and I don't really care what you have to sit through.
Aubrey O'Day is sharing more thoughts on the Diddy trial. During the premiere podcast episode of Amy Robach and TJ Holmes Present, Aubrey O'Day, covering the Diddy trial, released May 16th. The singer gives her opinion on why Sean Diddy Combs' kids are
backing, but she's ready. She's not going to back down. She wants justice for everyone, the insider said, hinting that O'Day has a project in the works that will be all about the Diddy trial. And Aubrey has also confirmed that she's here in New York City via her Instagram. Here's the other aspect of this. I don't know if you guys saw the Diddy documentary on Max. D. Woods actually shared some interesting details about Diddy and Aubrey's relationship, highlighting a time where Diddy pursued Aubrey. Aubrey has alluded, but she's never said any specifics. That was the first time that I heard specifics in that documentary on Max.
We know that they can corroborate the violence against Cassie Ventura because Dawn Richard said that she saw this several different times, and that plays a part into the trafficking charge, force, fraud, or coercion of Cassie Ventura. But they also play in a big part in the racketeering conspiracy charge. As you can see in the RICO charge, one of Diddy's charges that falls under this big RICO charge with all of these criminal charges underneath of it is forced labor. And in Dawn Richard's lawsuit, she alleged forced labor of her and all of her Danity Kane bandmates. She said that they were forced to work long hours, between 36 to 48 hours, without breaks, without sleep, and even without food.
The forced labor allegations against Diddy have revealed what life was really like for the people who worked closest to him. And according to Dawn Richard's testimony, it was nothing short of a nightmare. Her lawsuit describes extreme conditions, including being forced to work 36 to 48 hours straight, often without food, sleep, or even basic breaks. Imagine not just staying up all night, but doing it over and over again while facing constant pressure from the one in charge. This wasn't some mistake or rare event. Richard says it was the normal way things worked under Diddy's control. These claims show a workplace where abuse wasn't just allowed, it was expected, and now that reality has become the heart of this trial. Richard isn't the only one making these claims. Her statements match those of another person known as Victim Number 4, a former personal assistant of Diddy's who also spoke about exhausting workloads in a harmful environment. Together, their stories paint a powerful and disturbing picture where basic human needs like rest, food, and respect were allegedly taken away and replaced with constant pressure and fear. Richard's detailed account shows not just the long hours, but the mental strain that came with the job. Diddy's alleged disrespectful behavior only made things worse, turning an already tough situation into something unbearable. Being close to Diddy didn't bring benefits, it brought burnout. The environment described in Richard's lawsuit goes far beyond just hard work or harsh words. It points to a system built on control. Diddy has been accused for years of using his power to keep people in line, and Richard's words support that idea. The verbal abuse wasn't just about being rude, it was about reminding everyone who was in charge. It built a culture where speaking up felt impossible, and the fear of punishment was stronger than the will to push back. Richard's experience shows that Diddy's control wasn't just physical, it was emotional and mental, reaching every part of life under his authority. One important part of Richard's lawsuit connects directly to the bigger racketeering conspiracy charges because the forced labor claims show a pattern of widespread abuse that went beyond one person or one moment. Richard's story also links closely with Cassie Ventura's accusations of physical and mental abuse, helping to build a clearer picture of how far the control and mistreatment may have gone. Forced labor isn't only about long shifts, it's about people being pushed so far they feel they have no choice but to take it. Every claim adds to the next, shaping a clearer image of the empire Diddy allegedly built. What's even more troubling is how normal this toxic culture became. According to many, the harmful environment wasn't seen as unusual within Diddy's world. That staff and performers accepted sleep loss and verbal attacks without question shows just how deeply this system of control may have been accepted. Richard's testimony opens a window into this larger story, where personal boundaries disappeared and abuse became part of everyday life. Tying her claims to the broader charges gives the jury a full picture of how Diddy's power may have fueled these alleged crimes. Now the question is how Richard's testimony will affect the world outside the courtroom. For years, people in Diddy's world have faced criticism for staying silent, whether because of legal contracts, fear, or his huge influence. Richard's brave choice to speak up and the specific details she shared could encourage others to come forward too. The impact goes beyond the law. It touches culture. What she's describing isn't just one man's bad actions, it's a system that made those actions possible. If the jury and the public take these claims seriously, the consequences could be massive. As more information comes out, this trial feels like it's about more than forced labor or lawsuits. It's about exposing what's been hidden and giving a voice to people who've been ignored. Richard's courage in speaking about what happened under Diddy sets an example, and now we're left to wonder how many others who stayed quiet might finally speak. This trial is gaining speed, and as more witnesses step up, the effects could become even bigger. What's becoming clear is that this case isn't just about what happened before. It could shape what happens next.
And both Aubrey O'Day and Don Richard laying out forced labor allegations will also help victim number 4, who we know is using a pseudonym. And that's because Diddy is being charged with forced labor on victim number 4. And we found out in the opening statements that victim number 4 is an ex-personal assistant of Diddy. A lot of people were thinking that this could be Aubrey O'Day, but based off what we learned already, it's not. But her testimony is going to play a huge part for victim number 4. So not only can they corroborate the violence toward Cassie Ventura, which is a part of her trafficking charge, they can also prove the forced labor charge that falls under the racketeering conspiracy charge, and also help victim number 4, who is an employee of Diddy, who also alleges forced labor. And I'm sure in their testimonies, we're going to get even more context that we probably never even heard about. But either way, Aubrey O'Day and Don Richard's testimonies are going to be huge pieces against Diddy in his trial. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Aubrey O'Day and Don Richard are exposing what Diddy has allegedly worked hard for years to hide, and the consequences could be huge. Their testimonies are already changing the way people see this case, and for good reason. For years, rumors about Diddy's alleged actions have spread quietly, but now 2 of the most trusted voices from his inner circle are speaking out with what they know. The real question is, what secrets might they reveal that Diddy desperately wants to keep buried? Let's start with Aubrey O'Day. Once a member of Danity Kane, she worked closely under Diddy during the peak of his music career. Though that chapter has long ended. Her recent mysterious tweet hinted she's no longer staying silent. "You are standing at the edge of the season that will demand your truth in full voice," she wrote, suggesting a personal turning point. Fans believe that message connects directly to her possible role in this trial, and her words point toward a long overdue moment of truth. Not just for her, but for the years of alleged mistreatment she may have seen or gone through while working with Diddy. Aubrey had a front row seat to what happened behind the scenes, and now that she's speaking out, it's doubtful Diddy is ready for what's next. Then there's Don Richard, whose testimony has already intensified the situation. Richard described a chilling work environment that went far beyond the usual demands of the industry. Her statements include shocking details of brutal working, hours, no basic needs like rest or food, and a culture ruled by fear. But this isn't just about the forced labor accusations, it's about the complete control. Richard describes a toxic system where disagreement wasn't allowed, loyalty was forced, and speaking out was seen as betrayal. That kind of environment doesn't just form by accident, it's built that way on purpose, and it raises bigger questions about what else Diddy may have worked hard to keep hidden. Control appears to have been the center of Diddy's power for years, and many critics have accused him of silencing past partners, employees, and even close friends once problems started to show. Whether that silence came through legal agreements, manipulation, or outright fear, the message was simple. Crossing the line came with a price. While these aren't brand new claims, what makes this moment different is that people like O'Day and Richard are finally challenging that silence. Their testimonies don't just risk exposing a few bad moments, they could take apart the carefully crafted image Diddy has built over decades. The media has also guessed what kind of proof these women might reveal. Could they have seen key events tied to the racketeering and labor charges? Or might they offer personal stories that directly support Cassie Ventura's claims of trafficking and abuse? Whatever they know, it's already increasing the pressure in this case and making one thing clear. This trial might uncover more than anyone expected. And since these shocking details are coming from well-known insiders, the big question is, who else might now feel brave enough to speak? This is a turning point, and the decision by Richard and O'Day to share their experiences sends a strong message to others who may have also been harmed or witnessed abuse. Could their voices bring new witnesses or even new charges against Diddy? That remains to be seen, but ignoring the possibility is no longer an option. What's clear is that their choice to speak out is tearing apart the story Diddy tried to protect. The image of a powerful mogul, a mentor, an untouchable figure. That image is falling apart, and these stories may completely destroy it. No one knows for sure what will happen next, but one thing is certain. The truth is catching up, and Diddy's empire may never look the same. With every new revelation, the push for justice grows stronger, signaling a powerful shift in how the entertainment world deals with power and accountability.
Diddy's ex wrapped up her testimony today after 4 grueling days on the stand. The defense hit her hard during cross-examination, asking her about a stint in rehab for PTSD, a rape allegation, and asking her to read explicit text messages from over the past 15 years.
Richard accused Combs of sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and a hostile work environment by being exposed to sex trafficking and sex acts. She also alleged that she was a victim of false imprisonment. In her suit, Richard stated she was seeking compensatory and punitive damages, as well as other costs for post-traumatic stress, anxiety, and emotional suffering, and financial losses she suffered as a result of Combs' alleged behavior. Combs has denied her allegations. His lawyer told E! News in September, Mr. Combs is shocked and disappointed by this lawsuit. Richard's testimony in Combs' ongoing trial comes 8 months after she accused the rapper in a lawsuit of subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, and false imprisonment. The lawsuit, filed in September, obtained by E! News, stated, Mr. Combs frequently held meetings with Ms. Richard wearing only his underwear, despite Ms. Richard's protests and repeated requests for him to put on clothing. In her filing, the 41-year-old also alleged that Combs ordered her to strip down to her underwear, made demeaning remarks about her body, and entered her dressing room unannounced while she was unclothed, and touched her without her permission under the guise of showing the stylist what to do.
The trial against Diddy is quickly becoming one of the most talked about cases in the entertainment world. And for good reason. Testimonies from Aubrey O'Day and Don Richard have already shaken the public image Diddy spent decades creating, as their accounts not only support Cassie Ventura's claims, but also add shocking details that reveal a deeper pattern of behavior, raising serious questions about Diddy's future. At the heart of this case are disturbing allegations of violence, control, and exploitation, and Don Richard's testimony stands out, especially her claim that she personally witnessed Diddy physically assaulting Cassie on several occasions, making it more than just hearsay and offering independent support that could strengthen Cassie's case, especially in relation to the trafficking charge where force, fraud, or coercion are key legal points. With such strong support, it becomes much harder for Diddy's legal team to argue that Cassie's story is made up, and Richard's first-hand account becomes a powerful piece of evidence for the prosecution. But it doesn't stop there. Descriptions of being forced to work with her Danity Kane bandmates for up to 48 hours straight without food, sleep, or breaks, combined with humiliating treatment, paints a disturbing picture of a toxic and abusive work environment, tying directly into the racketeering charge, which includes forced labor as a major element. And these claims don't just suggest bad behavior, but point to a well-organized system of control over those working under Diddy, giving the prosecution a stronger case by showing repeated patterns of abuse that go beyond Cassie's story and reach into the way Diddy allegedly ran his empire. If these claims hold up in court, the legal consequences for Diddy could be severe, with multiple witnesses and growing evidence increasing the chance of major penalties, including the serious racketeering and forced labor charges, which could lead to years of legal trouble and financial loss. And beyond the legal risk, his entire career and public image are in serious danger, even if he avoids the harshest legal punishments. The damage to his reputation may be permanent, especially as this trial sparks wider conversations not just about Diddy, but about the power dynamics in the entertainment industry itself, as the courage shown by O'Day and Richard to speak out may mark a turning point, possibly encouraging others with similar stories to come forward. And if more voices join in, this trial could become the moment that breaks the long silence in the industry. On social media, every detail is being amplified. Richard's testimony about forced labor and O'Day's cryptic posts have created a storm of public opinion that's rapidly turning against Diddy, with platforms like Twitter and Instagram becoming battlegrounds where fans, critics, and insiders debate every new revelation, adding even more pressure on Diddy and making sure every detail reaches far beyond the courtroom. So, what's next? That's the question on everyone's mind, because the combined voices of O'Day, Richard, and Cassie are already changing the story, and more revelations seem inevitable, with the truth gaining momentum. And whether this brings justice to the survivors or brings down Diddy's carefully built public image, one thing is certain: these testimonies are more than just stories. They're a critical turning point. And as Diddy's empire begins to crack, they're rewriting what accountability looks like in an industry that's stayed silent for too long. Will this trial go down in history as the moment the truth finally came out? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear: the voices that were once ignored are now impossible to silence, and the world is watching.